Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. By Crumb, he's back, and when I say he's back, he is back. This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions, and join me today for your advanced look at the Conan the Barbarian Vol.1, bound in black stone, from Titan Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So today it gives me absolute pleasure to give you an advanced look at the Conan the Barbarian Vol.1, bound in black stone from Titan Comics. So a big thank you to the folks at Titan Comics for sending us an advanced copy of this trade paperback. This book is due out in the direct market and book market on February 13th or 14th. Hey, Valentine's Day, great present. I'm serious. Depending on where you get your books. Now, this is not the only cover. This is the main cover. This is the one that's going to be available everywhere. But there are two other direct market covers. And on the left-hand side, that's the Art Germ cover. And on the right-hand side, that is the cover by Mike Mignola. And again, the cover on the right and the cover on the left are only available at places like your local comic book shop, or cheapgraphicnovels.com, waltzcomicshop.com, bdcosmos.com, dimebreecollectors.com, readcomics.com, comicsbugle.com, organicpricebooks.com, Tales of Wonder, In-Stock Trades, DCBS. While the one here in the middle, this is by Dan Panosian, and that one is available everywhere. But let's shift the focus back to this. So we do have this image right here, and Panosian really channeling that old school Buscema feel to this image. I love it. He's got an axe over here, completely shirtless, and the sword over here to the right-hand side, Conan the Barbarian, bound in black stone. Down here, Zub de la Torre, Villarrubia, and White. So here is the spine. You have Vol.1, Conan the Barbarian, bound in black stone, Zub de la Torre, Villarrubia, White, the heroic signature logo, and then Titan Comics. And back here, the legendary Conan the Barbarian is back. Again, Titan Comics and the heroic signature logo down here. The retail price of this book is $17.99. Cover art, Dan Panosian. Back cover art, Roberto de la Torre, giving you a little blurb as to what this is and some praise for this book. Collecting down here, or I'm sorry, what's collected is stated down here. And I'm trying to see if there is a rating suggested for mature readers, just making sure I got that in there. All right, we're gonna crack this open. We're gonna showcase the artwork. I'm gonna give you the pitch of the story. Towards the end, I'm gonna do a spoilery review of it because I had a blast with this. And if you don't want anything spoiled, by all means, just skip that part. But at first, I'm gonna give you the pitch of this and let you fall in love with this beautiful, out of this world artwork. Okay, let's go ahead and get this opened. We have an ad here for Conan the Barbarian, the official story of the film. It's published by Titan Books, and this image right here, Conan the Barbarian, bound in black stone, written by Jim Sub, artwork by Roberto de la Torre, colors by Dean White, Jose Villarrubia, letters by the legendary Richard Starkings of Comic Craft. The map is illustrated by Francesca Ballard, and the editor is Matt Murray. Over here is the credits for Heroic Signatures and also Titan Comics. So collected in here, oh my gosh, okay, let's just admire this map. I love maps, I'm a sucker for maps, no matter what it's showing me, but this is such a detailed, beautiful map showing you where Cimmeria is, where Aquiloria is, where Singara is, Shem, Stygia, all these names that if you're familiar with the world of Conan, you probably are going to immediately recognize. But anybody new to the world of Conan in this, the Hyborian age, then this will come in handy, especially the more and more you see Conan travel in his adventures, where he ends up later on. But right now, we're mainly focusing on this area of Cimmeria. So this is the Cimmerian Chronicles right here, kind of giving you a little bit as to who Conan is in this beautiful poem. Hither came Conan, the Cimmerian black-haired skull. Hither came Conan the Cimmerian, black-haired, sullen eyes, sword in hand, a thief, a reaver, a slayer with gigantic melancholies and gigantic mirth, to tread the jeweled thrones of the earth under his sandaled feet. Holy crap, is that not beautiful poetry? All right, so what we get here is the free Comic Book Day 2023 special. You actually get the cover here. It's textless. This beautiful cover by Roberto de la Torre, and collecting issues 1 through 4 of the new Titan series that started in 2023. And the free comic book day just kind of introduces us to the concept of who Conan is. There's no dialogue in here, it's mainly just a narration. And it feels like you're reading a prose. It really feels like you're reading some of this Roy Thomas era of Conan the Barbarian, where Conan and the rest of the Cimmerians are going to battle, and he feels like there's some purpose out there for him, and he doesn't want to stay, so he ends up finding the sword. Now, this sword will become important in the next story arc, but he ends up leaving Cimmeria and heading south, and leaving his world behind. And then you get a small taste as to the things and the worlds and the lands and the people that he's going to meet. And if you've read the stories, like the actual Robert E. Howard stories, or if you've read the comics, then my goodness, you already know what's to come when you're looking at these pieces of art. But he packs that sword that he found from a dead soldier, and he takes a couple of swords with him, takes some food, and heads off to new adventures. And we kick it off with issue number 1 again. You have the cover; it's textless. They do tell you who the illustration is by, and we see here in northern Acolonia, so he's traveled south from Cimmeria, that they're just returning back from a battle. They were hired swords, and he kind of wants to leave. He's done listening to these people. They're not making the right decisions. This young waitress is hitting on him in this little bar, and he's like, yeah, sure, I will lay with thee. So it does have mature content, right? Mainly due to the violence, and of course, whenever you're telling a Conan story, well, he does end up meeting several ladies, and they're all about the sword of Conan for sure. And Conan, being the barbarian, he's still in his youth here too, so you kind of see him be a little rough around the edges. You see him not being the well-rounded warrior that he is later. Like, there's a couple times where some of the villains get a couple of hits on him that kind of surprised me. Then I have to remind myself, oh, this is Conan, like, after he left Cimmeria. He's in his early 20s here. So as he's sitting there getting ready to head off to bed with this young waitress and about to leave these swords for hire in this little town in northern Acolonia, this young horse rider comes in and tries to warn the entire time to gather your people and flee. Get out of here. There's something evil coming. And what is coming are these undead creatures. And they come in here, and we get to find out this young lady's name is Brizza, and she belonged to the Picts, which were a group of people. That's why she's dressed like a Pict. And she's warning them that these awful things, these creatures of the night, are coming, and they destroyed all of her people, and now they're coming for this town. So everybody's like, well, whatever, we've got guards out there, we can stand on our own. And Conan, kind of, he starts to believe her, because as soon as he starts chopping off heads, these heads are still attacking people. It's as if it's something driven by magic, something dark is happening. So Brizza tries to warn him. She gets overpowered by these creatures. Conan goes to help her. And what ends up happening is that him and Brizza are the only survivors of this horrible, horrible fight. She tried to warn these people. She tried to tell them that these horrible things are coming. And these horrible things just end up taking over this entire town, killing everybody, and then leaving the town and taking some of the dead with them. So Conan wants to get revenge. Conan noticed that Brizza is hurt, so he's like, hey, why don't you stay behind? And she's like, hell no, she's a warrior. She's going to go and avenge all the people that these horrible creatures have killed. So they head off back to the north, because she tells him that's where they're headed. They're headed to Cimmeria. And he's like, well, that's where my people are. And there's no way in hell these creatures are going to be able to stand against Cimmeria. And that's where the journey takes us. Going back to Cimmeria, do they defeat these creatures? Who are these creatures? Are they the undead? Or are they some kind of parasite? What exactly is happening? And will this young lady, Brizza, will she be around by the end of the story arc? Well, strongly suggest picking this up. What I wanted to do, that's all I will say about the non-spoilery part, and then I'll get to the spoilery section here in a second. What I wanted people to see, though, is this amazing artwork. Roberto de la Torre was this artist that I saw as a backup story in one of the Marvel Comics Conan stories. And I remember looking at his art, and I thought, I don't know who this guy is, but oh my god, he is channeling John Buscema, Joe Kubert, like all these wonderful legends. And there's just something amazing about his artwork. I got so excited when I saw that. I'm like, ooh. This is back when it was still at Marvel Comics, and yes, there's a little bit of nudity there. And I thought, this is the guy. This is the guy that you need. And it's funny because I interviewed Jim Sub a couple of weeks ago, and he told me the same thing. He looked at that art and he was like, this guy, can he do sequential art on a monthly basis? And it's a blessing that he can. I haven't seen Conan look this good in a long time. And there have been phenomenal artists that have drawn Conan. But from the Roy Thomas era of Conan, all the way to issue 275, the one that always stuck with me was Big John Buscema. And I know that it was Barry Windsor Smith, or Barry Smith as he was known at the time, was the first artist to draw Conan. But for me, when Big John came in, it was just, he drew him dirtier and grittier. It was just something extra special about his art. And that's what this reminds me of. So that's what I want people to fall in love with. It's like that you could almost reach out and feel the texture of the clothing or the weapons, the metal in the weapons, or even the rocks. And oh my gosh, it's just so freaking beautiful. And there's a couple spread pages through here that are just mind-blowing. And both Villarrubia and White are just amazing colorists, like they do the covers, colors too. And of course, the wonderful placing of the word bubbles by Richard Starkian, who's a master at this, who has figured out the well balance of where exactly to put a word bubble. Oh, this is a freaking masterpiece. This is beautiful. I'm going to show you a couple of the extras in the back, and then I'll talk about the spoilery part of the book. You have a couple of articles back here by Jeffrey Shanks, who talks about a word from the wise hither came Conan, talking about the other Robert E. Howard characters, not just Conan the Barbarian, but also characters like Solomon Kane or Kull. And then the ages undreamed of right here, breaking down a little bit of who Conan is and his background. And for people that have been asking me, are the covers collected in here? They are. They're done in this particular format, though. So this is a thumbnail size format. But these were the different covers for issue number 1. I did not know about that homage to the first issue right there. That is freaking awesome. There's some beautiful covers here, by the way. And issue number, these are all still issue number 1 because there's textless covers too. And some issues number 2. And foil cover. They did foil covers? Oh my gosh, I do not need to get into the single issue game again. This Roberto de la Torre piece, I remember seeing it at a comic book store and I almost picked it up because I thought, oh my gosh, that is the blue shirt, the big John Buscema era when, who was it? It was Christopher Priest was writing the character. No, J.M. DeMatteis was writing the character. Character sketches right here. There's Brizza, who's our main female lead, and then the creator bio on all these wonderful folks that put the book together. Back in print, remastered, oversized omnibus. I've announced these, and there is delays, but hopefully they will come out. 128 pages, $17.99. Now, moving forward, I'm just going to talk about my thoughts on the book. I'm pretty sure you can tell that I'm excited. I really enjoyed it. But in order for me to express how I feel about the book, spoilers moving forward. Okay? Alright. If you don't care about spoilers, well, hell, let's get started. Or, if you read these in single issues, you just want to know my thoughts. Alright, here we go. This is perfection. This is some of the best Conan I have ever had the privilege of reading. And there's a couple factors, right? Factor number one is I haven't read Conan since I've read the Free Comic Book Day, and I read issue number one because I could not wait for these stories. And I'm a trade waiter. This is the home of collected editions, so I was excited when I got to announce this book, and I was very happy that it was coming out so quick. So here we are in February, and I got to read the first story arc. And back to the factor I was talking about is we haven't had Conan, an ongoing series, for a while. The last one was the King Conan story by Jason Aaron and Mahmoud Asrar. And then, of course, the continuing adventures of Conan the Barbarian. Uh, I believe there was the Savage Sword miniseries. But an ongoing, it's been a long time. And the last Conan stories I read were the Return of Roy Thomas in Conan the Barbarian, the original Marvel Years Omnibus Volume 10. And don't get me wrong, it had some great artwork, but there was just something lacking. It's one of those things that you can never truly go back home. But oh my gosh, when I read this, it was like going back home. It was like going back to those Roy Thomas eras of Conan, especially when he got comfortable with the character. By the time Big John Buscema took over the art, that's what this feels like. And even in the way that it's written, you have the narrative, right? Like it's like you're reading a prose. You've got but not word heavy, not too word heavy. We all know how Roy Thomas was. Jim Zub actually takes and trims it down a lot. We've got, and it's still beautifully written. The way he describes the land and the settings and the smell and the attraction between this barbarian and Brizza, who's of the Picts. And the other thing that he does, very similar to Roy Thomas, is that there are no sound effects. He lets their narration tell the story, tell you what guts sound like when they're getting slashed by the sword. I thought that was really cool, and a throwback to the way that Roy Thomas made that decision. And Roy Thomas, of course, made that decision because he thought in a barbarian story where you're chopping off reptile people's heads off and you're killing a bunch of the undead and you have demons and you've got this army that's coming after you, like throwing in sound effects like slash, clang, just didn't make any sense to him. And seriously, what a great decision. So, like I said, mainly the mature rating is due to the violence, even though these are undead creatures. So, as you get to find out, they do travel back to Cimmerian. This is the Doug Braithwaite cover right here to issue number 3. He's the artist for the second story arc, and then Roberto De La Torre returns for the third story arc. So, they're going to be rotating story arcs here. He ends up finding his people of Cimmeria back here that are trapped by these people that could be bringing the dead back and using them as slaves. And as you get to find out, what's happening is that they're sacrificing some of these souls. And what we end up witnessing is that there are sacrifices, because when Conan frees his people, he tells the weak and the young to go with Brescia, to go with her, and him and 4 other Cimmerian barbarians are going to go out there and just get revenge, or take as many of them out as they can. I thought that was awesome. So she leaves with all the sick and the dead. He notices that these people that are in hooded cloaks are just reptile-looking people. So we do see that there are sacrifices being made, and then we see the name Thulsa Doom. Like, it's in a different language, but you get the sense that these people are being sacrificed and their souls are waiting for something, or their souls are feeding something else. And it's really cool how this is done. Look at that beautiful. That is so badass. I don't know how many times I yelled, yes! Oh my gosh, this is so damn good. So badass. A bunch of barbarians just fighting off a horde of undead and reptile creatures. Now, of course, if you read the original run, you probably know who Thulsa Doom is. This was my favorite part. So you get to find out what the Black Stone is in this part, where Conan is falling into this pit, where they're sacrificing people along with the priest here. And he has this image, or maybe not an image. Maybe this took place in the afterlife, where he's greeted by this warrior that's dressed like a Pict from years past. And he tells him of finding the Black Stone and what the Black Stone ended up doing to his. So after explaining how this Black Stone just destroyed his own people, he asked Conan to avenge him. And I love the way that he talks to Conan too, like he's a young warrior. He's not truly a fleshed out man, if you will. that he still has a lot to learn. And he gives him the task and tells him that he will eventually fade, and the memory of all of this will fade, but he has to hold true to his word. Avenge us with bright blood and great fury, and you shall be rewarded now and forevermore. And Conan swears it. Oh, so badass. So once he finds out what is this power down here with all these tentacles, he ends up killing it, knowing that it probably means death, that he can't swim, but because he has to spend all his energy killing this creature down there. But at least he avenges his people, and at least it won't reach Cimmeria again. Then I love when he just sped out of the water by this energy blast. And here he is, and the rest of the Cimmerians are like, get up, Conan, we still got these creatures to kill. So it's like one battle after another. Oh my gosh, how badass is this? What a great freaking character. And then, of course, setting up what could be the return of the Blackstone one day, and to be continued. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I don't usually review books because I want people, to make up their own opinions about stories on my channel. I want people to experience the stories for themselves. But I feel like for anybody that has questioned Conan, it's under new publishing, this is going to be bad. No, this is like old Conan. This is the Conan, if you grew up with the comics in the 70s and 80s, this is the Conan for you. It is freaking perfect. I cannot wait for the next book. I'm hoping that they'll do a big deluxe edition of Jim Sub's stories, and I hope the end sheets are the map. Oh my gosh, that would be so. I'm just hoping for a lot, but the artwork deserves it. The lettering deserves it. This book and story deserve it. He's back. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this volume, don't forget to check out our sponsors. BD Cosmos, the Canadian leader in graphic novels. They have a physical storefront in Montreal, Quebec, and their website, bdcosmos.com, offers 25% off your order of over $99 or more, and free shipping everywhere in Canada for every order of $200 or more.
Their shipping care is exceptional. Your books will stay cozy through the rough Canadian weather and arrive to you in near mint condition.
After checkout, let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way, and you'll be added to the monthly $25 gift card raffle. Entries are valid for new and returning customers.
Don't be afraid to call or email them. Ask them questions. Their staff is always happy to help guide you towards the right purchase. Visit their website, bdcosmos.com, for more. BD Cosmos, with rewards and raffles taking care of customers in Canada. Eh?
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and page count of this book. Let me know in the comments down below if you're picking it up, if you're a fan of Conan, if you've never read Conan and you've always been interested in the character. Well, right now this is the greatest jumping on point. And what other collections you want to see that features our favorite Cimmerian. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. He's back, baby. He's back.